everybody, crack a beer and get some devil's lettuce out, because today we go into the office that's very dysfunctional. Welcome to First and Last. I'll tell you what show we're doing in a second. Hi, guys. My name is Josh. That's Joe, right?
Hey, man.
And I also think I'm with Jimmy.
Yeah, you think?
I'm just so... You two will understand in a second, but, you know, I'm just too
so
high
confused
to know who I'm hanging out with. I'm giving you guys hints of what show we're doing. You'll figure it out. How's everybody's weeks been? Before we get into it.
Cold and miserable. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just
Isn't it?
icy rain. Horrible. That's terrible.
Yeah, isn't it fantastic when we get first snow in Minnesota? It's just so majestic and you want to kill yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
My little puppy's just shivering out there. Trying to poop.
Oh yeah, how's the dog like the snow?
She likes the snow a lot. She thinks that's pretty fun. But when it's like super cold and raining, freezing rain, she's not as into that.
Sure. Have you told her that it's not really cold yet? You've told her that, right? You let her know?
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, puppies grow pretty fast, right? So hopefully she'll be we'll just feed her a lot.
She's gonna grow up in the winter and become a tougher dog because of it. So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's what it is. They do say that people that live in cold climates, in general, like live longer for some reason. I think it's because it's their total disdain for the world around them drives them to stay alive longer, to just shove it in its face.
Oh man, don't have as much cancer from sun exposure.
Yeah, or maybe like the cold just like freezes the cancer, and we just don't get it in the Great White North.
It's like when you put meat in the freezer and it lasts forever. We're just like being preserved up here.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We're just in the fridge of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Pasteurized.
I've got freezer burn.
My insides have freezer burn, therefore I'm gonna live longer. That makes sense. Totally. Joe, this is First and Last Podcast. What is it about, if anyone's stumbled upon their favorite show and just hit play on this podcast and don't know what's it about?
It's a TV pod, except we don't just take in the whole show as it is. We only watch the first episode and the last episode. Nothing in between, and it's typically shows we haven't seen, so this is our only impression of the show. Just the beginning and end.
For the most part. I bet some of us have seen this show a little bit, but not all of it, that's for dang sure. This show, this week, if my hints didn't give it away, they were pretty terrible hints, but I tried. We're going to watch Workaholics.
Oh, okay. Have we not watched that yet?
No.
All right.
At least when I perused our episodes, I was like, pretty sure we haven't watched it. It'll be pretty funny if we have watched it and we don't remember, and then we watch it again.
I think,
and then we just completely...
I might be thinking
now.
of
Party Down?
Silicon Valley, maybe?
Yeah, we've watched things with not necessarily the same people in it, but like the same like type of actors, I guess. You know?
Sure.
If
I
that
know what
makes
you mean.
sense. Yeah.
I think your assessment of the Workaholics is accurate, that like I've seen a lot of it, but definitely have not seen the beginning or end.
Right, yeah. It's a show that, I mean, just right away I feel like you could pop on essentially any episode and you'd be like, oh, this is fun. You know, at least kind of that's what I've gathered from it. Mm-hmm. And I figured we've had just a really strictly not fun week with, COVID's here. It just came, just dropped by.
Yeah,
and
it's back in POG form.
Yeah. And, as of recording this, obviously, no one wants to say they lost the election. So I won't name names, but, some things are happening. Really, just everything else in real life is just a little too serious. So I figured, why don't we watch just some dumb stuff? And I think Workaholics fits right into that dumb fun category, if anything.
I'm here for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Very indicative of its era. The like early 2010s, just dumb fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember Fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys heard you remember that fun that we used to have?
Remember when we used to laugh?
Yeah, remember that thing we used to do in high school? Have fun? No. Back in 2019 even. This show ran from April 2011 to March 2017. It went 7 seasons and 86 episodes.
Wow.
And I
would
believe
not
it
have
was
guessed
on
that.
Yeah, it went a lot longer. I was like 7
Comedy
seasons.
Central?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty confident it was Comedy Central the whole time. So yeah, Joe kind of said, Jimmy, what have you seen about this show?
I think I've seen probably commercials for this show. I don't maybe a scene or two. But I've never seen a full episode of this show, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, cool. I figured I'd get one of you. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought Joe might have been the guy who had not seen any bit of the show. But,
Mm-hmm.
I like Blake
Forgot that.
Anderson. He's pretty fun.
Yeah,
He's pretty silly.
Blake and so random claim to fame is I was once on a cruise with Adam Devine.
Oh, yeah?
Which one is
Yeah, he
Adam
was on-
Devine?
He's the short one of the three.
He's like maybe the most famous of the three.
I would think
Is
he
he
is
in
the
the
most
Pitch
famous of the
Perfects?
three.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is he a singer?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he necessarily had to be a singer in
He's Bumper.
Pitch Perfect. But yeah, there's like 3 people, the 3 guys, Blake Anderson, Adam Devine, and Anders Holm. Those 2 are, I think they're the creators, and they're the 3 stars of the show.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think as a trio, I mean, they're no Lonely Island by any means, but I feel like they're in general pretty funny together. They roll off each other really well, and I think they work together.
It does very much feel like they just gave these 3 guys a show and were just like, do whatever you think is funny for a half an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, not in the same vein by any means, but kind of like the Always Sunny people just kind of were like, hey, we're 3 friends, because, wasn't it like those 3 guys, and they sent a thing and said, we want to make a show, and this is kind of what it's like, and then FX was like, let's do it, and these guys probably were like doing funny videos or something. I'd be curious to see what that is, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were doing funny videos, or they were all actually working a shitty office job, and now they made a joke TV show about basically what they were doing before they started.
I was actually interested in that and read the Wikipedia, and it says Workaholics was ordered by Comedy Central in March 2010 after Comedy Central executives saw a series of videos that the group had posted on YouTube.
Nice.
And then it says the pilot aired as a TV sneak peek after the March 15, 2011 debut of the Comedy Central roast of Donald Trump.
Oh God, I didn't know how.
Ooh.
Why is this so topical?
pick,
I tried to get away from
Yeah,
him.
The man is unavoidable.
Jesus Christ.
Why wasn't that roast just playing nonstop the last 4 years?
I don't know. They
You
should
know?
do another roast of him.
There
They should
have
do a
been
roast.
channel devoted.
If we, we do an inauguration party for the president, I think we should do a roast on the way out. Just tie the whole thing together. Every president gets a roast. I think it would strengthen our democracy, I think.
Isn't that what that dinner is supposed to be though? That Trump never did because he's so fucking thin-skinned and
The
Never.
correspondence dinner.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean,
For a
more or
man made of
less.
so many shapes, he does have weirdly thin skin.
Like a water balloon.
Mm.
Yeah, sorry to bring that upon us, but that's how the show started. YouTube vids.
Way to lay a dark
Nice.
cloud on top of the TV show.
Here's the thing to think about though. Remember when YouTube was a thing where you will post some videos here, get some attention, and then that's just like the launching pad to get a network TV show or a cable TV show. Like,
I'll be
or a
honest,
record
I'm not.
deal.
yeah.
Hey, look, I can sing, and then
And then
Virgin
Usher
Records
is like, hey.
"You're signed."
I feel like now it's just like if you're like getting hits on the YouTube, you just make a YouTube show. Like it's not
Yeah.
like
You
a
just
launching
stay-
pad anymore. You just keep doing YouTube because you can make some
Yeah.
cash.
Well,
Right,
why would
right.
you? Yeah, why would you move and sign on to a record label or a TV network when all the money just goes to you?
Yeah, and all your followers
I
are
mean-
already there. They know where to find
Yeah.
you.
You have direct contact with them. It's very easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds like a.
I don't think you
Sounds like
make
a-
near. You got to get a lot of hits though, to like make a living at that.
I don't know.
I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like you'd be surprised, and also you wouldn't be surprised at the same
Yeah.
time. Because I mean, I feel like a lot of people that make their full living on the YouTubes don't just like only get paid Google AdSense. So
Mm-hmm.
they got other schemes working in the background. Well, hey, this will be fun. Jimmy, you're the one that's never really seen this show, so I usually throw this at Joe, but I bet he kind of knows. Maybe what's the first episode like?
The first episode is these three dudes are they need a job, and they're living in some basements, maybe the same basement. and yeah, and then it goes through them trying to interview for jobs, and then they land this job, and there's probably just a lot of basically basement around a table pot smoking.
What do you think their job is?
Oh man. I'm basically just imagining straight up Office Space. So what was that company? Like an undefined kind of corporate. Maybe we never truly know what the
Well, the
business
company
even does.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just crunching numbers.
Those crazy number crunchers, those weed smoking number crunchers.
You know the type.
You know what I'm talking about. All right. Well,
I
this
just feel like there
show,
doesn't need to be a lot of plot between these three for it to be like a comedy. You know what I mean?
right. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of consecutive episodes in a row of the show. Just kind of like, turn it on. If it's on, it's on. And then, just hit play again at some point, and maybe it plays some other thing. So I don't think there's a lot of like that necessity of a whole lot of continuity. But so I think it's just good, dumb fun. But this show did do something nice, and it named its first episode. That's
Nice.
right. Written by the 3 stars and also 3 other people, Kyle Newacek, Connor Pritchard, and Dominic Russo, as well as Blake Adam and Anders. This first episode we're about to dive into is called Piss and Shit. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Comedy
That's what kind of show
Central
you're
didn't-
about to watch, Jimmy.
They didn't censor that, huh?
I mean, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But according to Wikipedia, it's called Piss and Shit. We'll see you after that. All right, we're back from the first episode of Workaholics called Piss and Shit. Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
Yeah, I'm just gonna read the one, the little Hulu descript, and that says, when the guys have to pass a drug test at work, they only have one choice: bribe middle school kids for clean urine.
Oh, that's it? That's the
it.
whole thing, huh?
There's a pretty hilarious one, that a random people write them on IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
And just the beginning starts, the trio had another drugs party at home. you know, your drugs party.
Drugs
that
party.
like you have.
Yeah, I know all those drugs parties that I've had. I mean, essentially, it's like a episode in 3 parts. Like the 3 main characters, Adam, Blake, and Anders, have like a pool party and like smoke and drink and hang out all day long and do a bunch of drugs. They go to work. They find out there's a pee test that they have to do, and then they spend the rest of the day trying to figure out how to get around it.
Yeah, which seems like a pretty obvious pilot plot for this show that I'm kind of bummed that I missed that.
Yeah, actually, if you want to go back to it, Jimmy, you said your initial thoughts were 3 dudes need a job. That's not true. That didn't happen. You said they live in a basement.
They almost got fired from a job.
They didn't. You said they smoke a lot of weed. You got that one right.
Hey, 1 point.
And then I think you said it was an office space like job. You didn't quite get. I think they're kind of like. Are they kind of like telemarketers in a way?
Yeah, I think they are.
That's what I gathered. Sound like they were selling stuff.
So not quite like data input boys or anything like Office Space, but it is. I mean, it's the feel of a shitty office like workspace like Office Space. So
yeah,
you did get that. So you were a little under 50%, I think, on what you kind of thought was going on.
Perfect. A+.
Passing grade. Besides the 3 main guys, I feel like there was pretty much 2 other main characters that were introduced in this episode, and that was Alice, who's the boss,
mm-hmm.
and she's just like a super hard ass.
Yeah.
Like,
she's great. That's Marybeth Monroe, who was just in The Good Place. She was Mindy St. Clair in The Good Place.
She was Mindy St. Clair in The Good Place. I was like, man, we just saw the show that she was in, and I couldn't remember what it was. It was her.
The Good Place.
It was last week.
I've been rewatching that like
Nice.
through the first season. And it is like, I think Jimmy, you said it, that like he had met with the creator of Lost to talk about how that show is structured, and like watching it again, it is a lot like Lost. Like,
Really?
yeah, where they just do a thing where like each episode, like you get flashbacks and like learn more about a character and like their motivations and stuff, like that whole structure.
Oh,
and then that like every episode ends in some sort of twist or reveal. It's crazy how like watching it again, I'm just like, oh my god, this is like Lost.
it's just comedy Lost.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Comedy Lost sounds like a good thing,
They do a better job of like tying up the loose ends.
Right.
Anytime there's like something like a question asked, it's like resolved in the next episode.
Comedy Lost with hindsight, which is great.
Yeah. With a plan.
This is fun. And then who was the other character?
Oh, her name
Was
is
it Jillian?
Jillian, right?
Yeah.
It's Jillian. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And she's like hilarious. I don't know if she's in
Yeah, she's
anything
pretty funny.
else.
She's in a lot
But
of
she's-
stuff.
Yeah, she's just funny though.
Mm-hmm.
A quick look at her IMDb has her in a lot of like 1 or 2 seasons of shows and movies.
Yeah, she seems like she's a person that, besides maybe this show right away, you're like, oh wait, I remember her from like 1 or 2 episodes of blah blah blah, because it's like they just needed a funny person to guest star on an episode. Yeah, so in this show, she's
funny one.
definitely hilarious. So all in all, Jimmy, your first kind of, because you're the only one that's really like first in on this TV show. So has it made you want to either keep watching or do drugs?
I mean, I don't know. I think I feel like I've seen this show a lot,
Okay.
It's like the show where it's just a bunch of dudes just being idiots, It's basically
Just
like
riffing.
Jackass with a plot. and not even much of a plot, but a script. Which, is fun sometimes. But it's not like I'm like gearing up to hit episode 2,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I kind of described it right before we started the first episode in the first part of the podcast, but I feel like the show is legitimately just like, I want to turn my brain off and not worry about real plot and just see some dumb people doing dumb stuff for a while, Like it somehow has like less plot per episode than like Always Sunny does, Joe, after seeing this episode, maybe you haven't seen this pilot before. Have you seen this pilot before, actually? Because you've seen a couple episodes of the show.
Yeah, seeing it now, I feel like I have seen it. It does. The plot of it does seem familiar.
Thoughts?
I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty irreverent. There's a lot of poo poo pee pee jokes.
Yeah, there is. It's the poop dollar.
Yeah. So there's a lot. I mean, there's a range though, because there is like dumb stuff like that. But then there are like, I don't know, not necessarily smart stuff, but just like stuff that like it takes a unexpected comedy turn. Like it wasn't the easy joke. Like one of the ones I think of is like where Anders is kind of like taunting them with like the 1 cup of like clean piss that he has. And just out of nowhere, Adam like shoves it in his face, which is funny because like you would expect them to like go into some sort of thing to barter for it, but instead he just like splashes it in his face, which is like visually funny. But then Anders also goes into a thing about how he like had enough for the 3 of them and they could have shared it.
I don't think that was enough. I feel like that was the amount of pee for one person to take a test that he had, but he was pretty adamant that he was going to share it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how much you need for a pee test.
I mean, if you need 1 ounce, that was probably 3 ounces.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the cups are a little small. One time, this is a true story. One time in like, I feel like it was like high school, I was trying to get a job at like Target, just like get my high school job. And I went in to go get my, like, you have to go get a pee test when we, like, within a day after we say to go get one. And I wasn't even like thinking about it, but I left to go to the pee test. But right before I left, I went pee. Like, I was like, I have to pee. And I went pee. And then I got there and the guy was like, cool, now go into this room and like or sit here and like when you got to pee, let me know. And I was like, holy crap, I just don't have to pee. Like, and it was like the longest pee test I've ever had to take because I had to just sit there for like 45 minutes essentially and just like wait, because now it's like, not only is it like I just peed, so like there's no, I've got none left. Also, there's like this weird like, hey, I gotta, like, you gotta pee. People are like waiting for you to pee. Now the pressure's on. Yeah. And I couldn't, and I'm like, man, I pee all the time and I couldn't pee. It's like the one time in my entire life that I couldn't just go pee.
Yeah.
So
performance anxiety. It's real.
Yeah. Make sure that when you're gonna go take a pee test, that when you leave the house, if you have to pee, just hold it. It's gonna be worth it.
Just take an extra cup with you just in case, and you can just bring it with you.
Yeah, I brought this extra cup. That's cool, right? I promise it's my pee.
I was in the car on the way here and I couldn't hold it, so
I pee. Oh, you can tell the pee's all over my pants. Can you take that? Can you wring it out?
I was gonna say, I feel like it would almost be worse if you had to pee really bad, and then like it's just at such like a volume, and you're just holding this cup as far as you can away, and it's just splashing everywhere. There's just nothing you can do. Gotta get that pee.
Yeah, there's risks. There's risks involved. That's for sure.
What are we doing? Are you talking about TV?
Anything? I'd be curious on. I'm kind of like curious to get into predictions almost right away, because like I'm just like, can this show just be just dumb dumb stoner stuff for 7 seasons, or like are they actually going to evolve by any portion? I can see very little evolutions in them. But I have a little guess. I have a little guess for some. I don't know.
My predictions are very evolution heavy.
Are they?
I see big things for these guys.
Oh. Joe, will you grace us with your predictions then?
Sure. Let's see. I have that Anders has kids. I think he's a full-on father.
Oh, like so he has like they're out. Like there's babies that are breathing air.
Yeah, multiple.
Cool.
Breathing air. Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah, they're
Well,
not
I wanna make
amphibious.
Yeah, so he either A doesn't have a baby in a womb, you know, and he B doesn't have amphibian babies.
Yeah.
Fish gills babies.
100% mammal babies. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Adam is the mayor of whatever town that they're in.
Oh my.
Somewhere in
Adam is?
California.
Yeah, somewhere.
All right.
Some nondescript California town. Adam's the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
I have that Blake runs a cult.
I could see
Feel like
that.
he ascends his way to the top of a cult.
Nice.
And then for the show, I think there's a like clip montage, which I think is something you would not expect from this show, but I think they get like a sentimental clip montage.
Don't do it to me.
If it's like just like a ironically funny clip montage, doesn't count.
Has to be sincere.
I have to draw a tear.
Okay. I like that.
Love
Yeah,
it.
you were very evolution heavy. Interesting. Okay.
I was
I'll go
not.
I'll do mine. Mine's a little bit in between. Well, okay. One in between. I have one evolution. One of them is going to be a dad. So that's why I actually specifically asked you if you have breathing children. It's because mine is one of them is like an expecting dad. Like
Okay.
there is a pregnant lady involved somewhere.
Always is.
I think there are 5 or more drug uses in this episode
Okay, that'll be a fun
of
count.
like them showing Bruce. I'm not counting. I will say. I mean, it's a drug, obviously, but I'm not counting them like drinking beer or something. I'm thinking they're smoking or injecting or nothing at all.
Illicit drugs.
They
Yeah.
got lighters under spoons.
Yeah. So that. I'm doubling down, tripling down. How many episodes are we into season 7? There's a blimp. I'm getting that
alright.
blimp.
Nice.
So.
And then number 4, Joe, I think your mayor, Adam, gets punched.
Okay.
If anyone's going to get punched out of those 3, it's him. And I think it
Very
happens in this
punchable.
one.
Yeah.
I'd punch him. Yeah, for sure.
There you go. So those are my 4.
All right. I have so this whole like pilot, they are worried about getting fired, and I think they get fired finally in this series finale. Maybe it's not like all like a downer note. Maybe they like win the lottery or something, but I think that they get fired. My number 2 is I think Jillian is wanted. I think she's a fugitive.
Oh,
I like
boy.
that a lot.
On the run. I think they ride scooters. Like maybe like razor scooters, perhaps. Maybe there's a kick flip.
Seems like it's within their vibe.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Converse, and I just meant like, oh man, these guys are gonna ride scooters. And then I think there's just a lot of drugs in this. So we didn't talk about like the way that they finally got out of this drug test is that Blake is that his name? Blake pees on everything in all the cups, and then Alice goes on a tirade of all the drugs that came up in their test, which is like PCP and Lipitor and Adderall and Dayquil and NyQuil and all this stuff.
Hello. She
which
was
is like-
Dayquil and NyQuil. Who takes both?
Nitrous oxide, Benzedrine, Valtrex, Flomax, Cialis, and birth control. So did he take all these things? He took birth control.
I guess.
Yeah, give it a
So
shot.
anyway, So anyway, I think someone in this episode is straight edge at this point. I think someone's totally,
Oh, there's a sober?
yeah,
Okay.
someone's totally reverted. Maybe they found the Lord. Maybe it's Adam. But it's someone. That's what I got.
Those are the 4?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, well, I guess why don't we just get into the finale? It was season 7 episode. There was 10 episodes. It took place on March 15th, 2017. It's called Party Gawds, but Gawds is spelled Gawds. So,
Of course.
because why wouldn't it be, right? So let's get into that one, and we will see you after the party. All right, we're back from the tightest butthole of a show, Workaholics. Last episode was called Party Gawds. That's how you pronounce that? Gawds?
Sure.
Gawds. Do you got to write up first, Jim?
Yeah, again, just from the Hulu. The guys become party gods after an energy drink company starts paying them to throw ragers.
Bango.
Shenanigans ensue.
I thought they were gonna start. I thought they because basically, who was that? Was that Craig? That was Craig Kilborn,
Yeah.
who was like the executive guy from this energy drink place called Bango.
I used to watch him. What? He was a late night talk show
Yeah,
host.
he had a late night show, and basically he just made them or asked them to throw parties, and then they would just throw out social media stuff with the Bango logo on it, and then that basically went to all their heads, and they all tried to become the cool party dudes. And then
Yeah.
Blake started to see how bad it was because some dude smoked weed for the first time and then jumped off a roof and broke both of his legs, which that was really gross.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was. Did you recognize him?
I recognized him, but I can't place him.
Tony Revolori, who plays Flash in the recent MCU Spider-Man movies.
Yep,
/
he's
Sony.
the new Flash.
Hmm.
And then another guy, the other guy, so there was 2 other dudes that were worshiping Blake, and one of them was Jack Quaid. And he's the main character from The Boys.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't
So if you
place him.
Yeah, that's where that guy was from. And so then that kind of happened to Blake. He felt bad about it and tried to leave. Adam was getting a little crazy and thinking he was too cool for school. And then he had Jason Mantzoukas as his agent or something.
Yep.
There's a bunch of people from The Good Place in the show on accident. And then
Paul Scheer jumps in there at one point for a second. Because if you have Jason Mantzoukas, you just tack on Paul Scheer.
I don't think that's a bad sentence right there that you said. And then Anders was just sad, and he tried to kill himself by diving through a plasma TV screen.
Yeah. Well, he definitely picked up a drinking problem.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
It was a hilarious.
Yikes.
And then, I mean, I feel like they kind of weaved it. I mean, was it much of a finale? Yeah, I mean, I guess yes and no, depending on how much you picked up on it. Did you guys kind of pick up on they were just doing the bang parties over and over and over and over again? And they were like, can we just keep doing this over and over again? Maybe it's time to quit the show. And maybe I kind of thought in the way of they were just hey, we've literally been doing the same episode for 7 seasons.
Yeah. It was very subtle.
Yep.
Hey, some people won't get it. but then they sat on the rooftop, and I guess that was the end where they kind of had their goodbye, I guess. They're as a heartfelt of a goodbye as you can with this just dumbass show
Yeah.
that they have.
Well, they resolved to end like the Bango relationship, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're done with that. Then they go have one last hang on the roof.
Yeah. And Adam keeps saying like we ended the show, and then they keep clarifying it's a web series. Like he's he's not talking about this show. He's talking about the Bango web series.
Yeah, they were very subtle. So I hope everyone picked up on it. One thing that I did like a lot about it was the very first thing that they did was their Bermuda dope high angle, where they were they had a little bit of drugs, and then they kept yelling Bermuda dope high angle, and then like 3-way smoking like a little bit of weed so they could like, I don't know, capture all of the high that it had. I'm sure that doesn't really work.
It's an intriguing idea though. You could try to recycle it, yeah.
I feel like it works in TV and it probably works in real life, but if you test somebody that really wants drugs in a way, they will find a very interesting way to be able to do those drugs for as long as possible. For the good or bad of their body.
Highlanders. Because they're high.
I get it.
I see what you did. Like not closing thoughts, but just like thoughts on this finale, or I guess the show as a whole. Like, are you into just watching people do drugs constantly? or was this 2 episodes of an escape from reality enough for you two?
Yeah, this is enough for me. I think there are better shows of people getting high. Personally.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't grab me, but I was intrigued by this finale because it wasn't just. They could have easily just done another episode of Workaholics and then walked away, but yeah, they did this interesting like meta show within a show thing, and I kind of wonder about how much of what was in this episode reflected their actual feelings, or were they just making a riff on the show? Because like what ends up happening is like they're having fun in the beginning, and then it gets too big, and they kind of resent the celebrity of it, and just that people are kind of taking the wrong things from what they're doing. And I wonder if like, and that it gets super corporate. Like, I wonder if that's how they actually felt about the Workaholics show, or if that's just, or if that's just TV show stuff that you're just like, yeah, you know, like it's kind of cliche about like what happened to the Bango web series. Just like, oh yeah, it got too corporate and we got too big and our heads got too big and we had to stop. Is that just the thing they did for the show, or is that how they like really felt about Workaholics?
I don't know. I have to read some more wikis on that. Did they actually like have a little fallout, and did they actually have some stuff with like their agents and who's gonna do the stunts?
They seem like pretty laid back guys that like it's hard for me to imagine that like that would have actually happened. Like it,
right?
I don't know. They all seem pretty chill that like they're not gonna get egos, and they just think that this is a fun thing, and we'll just do it until it's no longer fun.
Yeah, like if they're writing it and like their friend is like directing it. Did we talk about that?
What's that?
Kyle Newacek.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like the fourth of the bunch, but he was mostly.
Was he the drug dealer guy in the first episode? Is that him?
I don't know if he was the drug dealer or he was. Seems he was a lot of things in this.
Oh.
Oh wait, no, that's just his producer credits. Hold on.
It seems like, I mean, at least the show, at least from Adam and Blake, kind of talked about the end of the show, and they kind of said that they ended it the way they wanted to end it. Blake said as fun as it would have been to like kill off every character in like a fun way. he goes, well, but if somebody comes back knocking with a big paycheck, we might be back. So, we had to keep them alive. But then like
Sure.
Adam kind of just was like, the show in general is resonated because it was like, we're friends and the people and the characters on the show were all friends. So it was just like a good bookend of just kind of like ending up back on the roof and just like, it's kind of like how they started the pilot off and just being like, yeah, it's just like friends, and they got what they wanted, because in the end, like, they wanted to like just party all the time, but then they kind of realized like, nah, we have each other, and that's like good enough. So they didn't want to have like a really big crazy finale. They just wanted it to almost feel like a regular episode of them just being friends in the end.
Sure.
It's so funny when
And they
people
did
like talk. Some people are, the people that make these shows are like, yeah, I had like, these are my actual deep seated feelings, and this is how I feel about it. And like a lot of people watching are like, there's 3 dumb dudes just doing a bunch of drugs, and it's like, no, there's like a bunch of people, and especially the people like working and acting and writing in it, like had a lot of thought to it, even though it's just like all they did was film them partying for 25 minutes in this show. Like if you were just looking at it
Pretty
at the
much.
extreme base level. So I appreciate it. It seemed like it stayed true, at least to what it was, and maybe made somewhat of a social commentary of what it could be.
Along the way.
Yeah. I could see myself putting on some more of this. According to Hulu, when we turned it on, I had watched the first 8.5 episodes of the first season. I stopped halfway through episode 9. I was over it.
Isn't there only
So.
10 episodes in the first
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my god.
Couldn't make it, man. Couldn't make it. I think there's 10 episodes in every single season, except for
No, there's a
never mind. 3
There's
has
a
like
couple.
20.
yeah. It started to go downhill at the end, but
It's
it was
2.
picking up.
It's 10, 10, 20, 13, 13, 10, 10. So yeah, they went for that big 20
Went for the
episode.
20 and realized they overshot.
Like, wow, we doubled it. That was too much. I mean, I liked it. I think it's fun. I think it's a good when you're like, I want to watch 20 minutes of a show. Literally doesn't matter. It's like when Joe's searching for only Halloween episodes or only Christmas episodes. This is like one of those, like, I only want to watch people smoke weed and be dumb while I eat this sandwich. Perfect. Workaholics.
I bet there's holiday Workaholics episodes.
I bet there is. Yeah. I'm gonna put
Hope
some
so.
money on that one. At least a Christmas episode,
Mhm.
At least a Christmas episode. So cool. Do we want to dive into what we had for predictions and see if we actually got any of them correct? 'Cause
Sure.
I bet we didn't. Joe, you went first last time, so let's see how much of your foreshadowing worked.
Ooh, I feel like I maybe got close on one of them. Because I said that Anders has kids. Didn't appear to be the case.
No,
Correct.
Hope not.
Yeah, I would not say any of them had kids.
Those children are in danger.
I said that Adam is the mayor, and it didn't look like he had any sort of importance. I said that Blake runs a cult, and while he didn't necessarily run a cult, there definitely was a cult of like personality of people worshiping him and his hair.
He had like a cult
He
following,
had a following.
in a way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Half on that?
I'd give you half.
Maybe half.
Okay.
He did say specifically that he was not into a like deist like person,
Mhm.
but then one of the followers did just jump right off the roof after he said he was going to, and he broke his legs. So yeah, okay.
Checks out.
The actions check out.
And then my last one was that there was a clip montage, which there wasn't.
No, there was not. Well, we'll give you that 0.5. So
Cool.
staying strong. Season 7 really crushing it, Joe, so far.
All right.
My first one said that I had one of them was going to be a dad, so that was obviously incorrect. Once again, thank God none of them were dads. I said there will be five or more drug uses, and I'll be honest, I just stopped counting because there was
So many.
a plenty. I could have probably said 20 or more drug uses and still probably gotten that one good.
Yeah.
There was and my last two, I'll be honest, every single scene I was like, I bet these can happen, but they just didn't happen. It's like a blimp. No blimp, unfortunately. And my other one was Adam was being such a dickhead. I said Adam gets punched, and just no one would do it for me.
Yeah, very punchable.
Very punchable. So I was like really hoping. I was like, this episode started, and I was like, I could get 3 points. I could get 3 points.
Does Adam seem like a carbon copy of maybe a slew of other comedians from like the 5 years leading up to him being a person?
Like a little bit of like a little bit of Dane Cook, a little bit of Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
No, what's his name?
No.
Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie Kennedy. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Mix a little Seth Green in there.
I think there's just a bunch of dudes from around that like era, like the early 10s that just all have the kind of the same shtick. I don't know. Anyway, I had that they got fired, and somehow they didn't.
No, they like ended the show almost in like at work. That was like the second to last scene.
Yeah, it seems as though they just weren't going to work for the longest time, and then they just walked back into this place.
Yeah, they literally forgot to go to work in the first scene of the show.
I thought I had that in the bag. Jillian is not even in this episode, so don't know if she's a wanted fugitive.
That's a bummer because she's great.
Yeah, right. Maybe she was busy doing some other show at the time. No one rode any scooters, and no one went sober as much as they probably should have. There is a scene where Durs, as they call him, Anders is pouring beverages out into a trash can. And I was like, he's doing it. He's pouring them out. And then he just said, no, this is a garbage cup. He was going to drink all these drinks that he's pouring.
Oh my God. I didn't even catch that. That's hilarious. I thought that was so funny because like he was just standing in the front of the door as people walked out and taking their beverages and pouring them out into this trash can. And I was like, oh, he's actually just being like responsible and like not letting people,
like
walk away.
Drinks. Yeah, there was a whole scene going on around him, and he wasn't saying anything. They just kept showing him pouring different alcoholic beverages into a trash can.
Right. Oh, just hey, FYI, yeah, that Kyle Newacek guy that you're talking about, he did play that Carl, the drug dealer.
Yeah.
Also, Jillian, who her name is Jillian. Also,
Jillian Bell,
and her name in the show is Jillian Belk. But
nice.
According to this, she was only in 45 episodes. She was in a little over half, I think, of the TV show. So I would say I would go down the limb and say not enough Jillian probably for the show. It's probably why it failed and only lasted 86 episodes and 7 seasons. Total failure of a show, right? No, but okay, cool. Well, hey, so how many did you get, Jimmy? Was that
that's a 0 for me.
Okay, I wasn't rubbing it in. I just didn't do the math. Just FYI. Cool. Well, I guess that's it. That's Workaholics in the bag. We did it. Good job, guys. I'm proud of us. Now we can go back to the harsh realities of the real world.
Oh,
and we're back.
Yikes.
Yeah, see, the show doesn't seem that bad anymore, does it, huh? Now you want to watch another episode all of a sudden, don't you, Jimmy?
I mean, I put one on like as I fall asleep.
You're gonna have weird fake drug nightmares.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey everybody, thank you for listening to this episode of First and Last. If you would be so inclined, you want to hit us up with show suggestions or just chat with us, you can at F&L podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitters. like and 5 stars and subscribe and all that jazz. We'll see you next week. Goodbye. Keep it tight, butthole.
Joe, you got any weird pee stories?
Pee stories?
Weird drug test pee stories?
I don't think so. I mean, I remember taking a drug test once, but it went very straightforward.